Okay, well, once again, we are back with another little tutorial because I was already asked just a couple of days after I made the first one several questions about how to work the OBS program. So as you recall, we ended our show with this kind of an interface last time. I had brought to your attention the 4 steps that you wanted to do when you first logged on to OBS. The first one is to get to the countdown timer. Then after that, we decided to check the cameras and make sure they were okay. The third thing was the rotation of the cameras and make sure that was okay. And then finally, the manage broadcasts, which we had to put in a title, a description of your upcoming show. No, it's not made for kids. And then we started the broadcast that way. So today, the first thing I want to start off with is with the timer here, because we showed you like the amount of minutes you put in before your show starts. We load it, and then after that, when the timer hits 0, it goes to camera 1. But what if you don't want it to go to camera 1 and you want it to jump right away, let's say to the 2 cams? If you want that scene. So what you want to do is go to this cog wheel here, and then you will come down to where the scene button is. You will check it, and then you go find the scene that you want to open with the camera. Normally it's on camera 1, but you can put it on 2 cams. Apply, OK. And when you start the timer, when the timer goes all the way down and hits 0, instead of going to camera 1, it will go to 2 cams. The second thing I wanted to bring to your attention was the sources. We went very quickly last time on this subject because I said every scene you have here has sources. They can be the same or they can be different. So how do you add a source to your scene? Let's go to the 2 cams scene right here, and we are going to add names for these 2 frames. So the first thing you want to do is go down and add a source. So you'll click on the plus button. You see there are many types of sources you can put in. A browser, for example, a media source, which could be a video. You can have a video, VLC video in there. And in this case, right now, what we want is a text. So we're going to click on text. We're going to give it a name. So since it's going to be right in this area here, we're just going to call it my name. And that is how it's going to look down in the sources window. So I'm going to click OK. You will see the my name right here in blue. And this is the actual text that you want to show. So it will be, in this case, Anja. There it is. And then you can see up here the text, but it's way too big. So what we're going to do is go immediately to select font. This is the size that it is, 256. So we don't want to click on anything below that. So we're just going to highlight that, and we're going to type in 100. And you will notice immediately the size of the text shrinks. And then we can shrink it even more. So I'm going to say OK. We can bring it over where we want to put it and shrink it even more by just getting a corner and making it a little bit smaller. Now you don't want to go the other way by pulling it, highlighting a corner of the word and then pulling it out, because these are bitmap images. Bitmap images are pixels, so as you stretch it out, wherever there's a curve, it will look like steps. So if this was a vectorial image, it wouldn't matter because it's a mathematical calculation, and if you stretch it bigger to infinity, it will always be smooth, a smooth circle. But with bitmaps, it doesn't work that way. You've probably noticed it in movies. If you had a lower grade movie and you put it full screen, it looks horrible, full of little squares all over the place. It's the bitmaps, that's why. So it's easier to shrink down rather than stretching up. So here you have Anja's name right here, and then we want the guest's name as well. So we're gonna, you have to create another source for the other text. And here we go. And here we'll give it another name. So I'll probably just call it guest for right now. Enter that. There we go, guest name. Then I'll go to the select font. I'll highlight this and go back to 100. So I'll just click on OK. The guest name is up here. I drag it down to where I want it, shrink it even more. Whoops, not too much. There we go. And then if you look over here, the text, you can select the color, and then you can pick any color you want and just go OK, and that will change the text color. So that is basically how the sources work. You add them by pushing the little plus button, and then you pick the source that you want to add. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to show you was a little bit more about the advanced scene switcher. So we're going to open it up right away right here. And as I mentioned in the last video, the start stream and stop stream were automatically ticked because we use them all the time. And then you have the camera 1 to camera 2, camera 1 to 2 cams, and camera 2 to cam 1. So basically what we're going to do now is create a new macro. So let's create a macro that's going to go from camera 2 to the 2 cams. Okay, so to do that, you just add a new macro, write down what you're trying to do. So cam 2 to 2 cams. And then over here on the right hand side, we're going to just click on this plus to add a new macro, to edit our new macro. And as you can see, we're in the scenes because we do want to add a new, want to control our scenes down here on the left hand side. So we're going to just select camera 2. And here we want to tell it how long and how many seconds we want it to switch scenes. So we want for exactly, let's say 30 seconds. You have the choice between seconds, minutes, and hours. We're going to go with the seconds, and we're going to go with 30 seconds. And then from this 30 seconds, we want to tell it where camera 2 has to go to. So down below, we're going to add this second command, and we want the camera 2 to go to 2 cams, which is right there. We can select the transition, but basically we want the current transition, and there you have it. So basically we have created a new macro, and we will put it in its right place. I'll use the little up arrow and bring it just above the stop stream. So next time, if we ever want to go from camera 2 to the 2 cams, well, we have that option. So that is basically how you create these macros and command them to rotate from camera to camera. Well, there is one more thing that I wanted to mention, and it's how to start and stop your stream automatically. So for that, we're going to use once again the advanced scene switcher. So let's go down to the preferences and open them up. And in the macro tab, we will get rid of the start stream and stop stream that are already there. So let's delete those. There we go. And the stop stream, we will delete that as well. Very good. So let's start a new macro. We're going to name it start stream, of course. And then we're going to go to the Edit Macro tab, click on the little plus, and then instead of in a scene as though we were switching cameras, we are going to go to Date. Now, Anja, and we're going to use her once again as a little guinea pig. Anja's show is on Thursdays at 5:30. So we're going to go to any day, click down and go to Thursday. Then in the clock tab, we're going to go to 17, which is 5 o'clock. And then we're going to type in 29. And we're going to start our show 15 seconds before, so we'll go 45. 45. There we go. And then we're going to come down here and tell it what to do. Instead of switching scenes, we're going to go to streaming. There we go. And by default, it goes to stop streaming. So we're going to click on that and go to start streaming. So here we have it, Thursdays at 5:29 and 45 seconds, the stream will start. And now let's click on, so I'm going to move this start stream to the top just to keep things in order. And now let's create the stop stream macro. So where am I here? There we go. Let's type that in. Stop stream. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to edit the macro. We're going to go to the date. We're going to go back to Thursdays. And then the time will be 17:59. And we're going to go 05, so the stream stops 5 seconds after her radio show ends. And then we're going to come down here, give it the order what to do. We're going to go back into streaming, and then stop streaming. So that's it. You have it. Thursdays at 5:59:05, the stream will stop. So that is basically how to start the streams and how to end them automatically by using the advanced scene switcher. So since I cloned your user account from the one called template, you might notice when you go into the start stream and stop stream that the date and the time is totally different from what your show is. So all you have to do is basically just change the date, put in the right time for when it starts and the right time for when it ends. The next thing I wanted to mention was the profiles and saves. As you know, with computers, you absolutely always have to make saves of your work to be able to restore it in case your computer crashes. Well, it's no different with OBS. You want to look up to the top and you will see there are profile and scene collection. What you want to do is click on the profile and find your name. Here we have Anja already set. So what you would want to do to save your profile, which is basically your interface, you would just want to go to export and click on that, and then you would find, maybe create a folder on your desktop called OBS Restore, and then you would save your profile in that folder. And the same with the scene collection. In the scene collection, you can see Anja's name is checked, but there are a few other people's names here. What you can do, if either you just stay on your own name, find your own name in there. If not, you just pick one, and then you would just go, for example, here on the default scene. I'll go there. I'm going to move this. I'll go back to the scene collection. Default scene is checked, but I will just go to remove and get rid of it. And then I'll do the same thing with food freedom. I'll go up here. I'll remove it as well. Go back here, and then it is what it is. I'm going to remove that as well. Go back to scene collection and remove that. So if you still have other people's scenes in the scene collection, you can understand why. Because if I have to delete 12 producers every time on each user account. I would be here till like midnight every day. So once you do that, get rid of the others, or not. You don't have to. Just stay with your name, and then you would go to export the scene collection, and you would export that and put it in that folder that you created earlier on your desktop. And then if ever you have a problem, or if you change computers, you take those files, put them on a USB drive, and then take it to the other computer and you restore them. So it's a safe way. If you have a lot of work, if you have a lot of scenes with a lot of sources inside them, it's a good way to save them. As you've noticed, I switched over to my personal streaming page, the one that I used to have when I was in France and I streamed every day from my studio. I wanted to talk to you about when to start the stream. So far we set up everything that when the timer runs out, it goes automatically to camera number 1 as the stream starts. But you don't necessarily have to do it that way. I have a friend who has an Arsenal Football Club YouTube channel, and he starts his stream 10 minutes in advance. Like that, it gives his followers time to log on to his channel, and then they just wait for him to start his stream, and thanks to the timer, they know when that will be. So if you are starting to have quite a few followers yourself and that you're becoming an influencer, it might be a good idea to start your stream in advance, which would mean that on your splash screen you should put exactly where your followers can log on to find your YouTube channel, and that will give them plenty of time to open up their browser and to do that. And of course, once again, if you are going to go that way, you will have to come in even earlier to the studio to make up for that streaming time when you started in advance. And the last thing I wanted to bring your attention to is the outgoing photo. Down here on my scenes, I have it called Schedule and End. That's because my outgoing photo is nothing more than a thank you for watching photo, and I put in, of course, my schedule, because I would stream every day, and then they could see on Thursdays, for example, I would be streaming in French, and then they would have to confirm on Thursdays if I would be there on Fridays or not. So this is a good way to communicate to your followers what's going to happen. On my particular show, La Java, on Friday evenings at River West Radio, I would always end my show with music, and then in the last 15 seconds of my show, I always switch to my outgoing photo, because personally I think it's a little bit more classy to end that way. So that's something else you should maybe think about and take into consideration. Well, that brings me to the conclusion of this tutorial. I hope it's been helpful. Of course, I'm always around. You can always ask me some questions if you have more questions about using OBS. I'll be happy to help you. Remember to come in early and set everything up. And even more importantly, try to have fun with this program, because this is the gateway to the future. Okay, have a nice day. Ciao, mes amis.